Prvicim, Leskovo Persgamo de Mojevi Historii Ukraini. Or, hello everyone, welcome to my history of Ukraine. This was another request, and I didn't get a request for 2 days, so sorry about that. Anyways, here is my history, and later on, the Anthem of Ukraine. Let's begin, shall we? The history of Ukraina, or Ukraine, can trace its roots to over 7,000 years ago to the Tripilia or Tripilian culture, whatever you prefer. This culture lasted for an astonishing 3,000 years, about the same length as Egypt, although it evolved a lot. One of its most known features amongst historians was an odd tradition of building a village, living in it for about 50 or 60 years, and then just burning it down. Odd, right? After the mysterious disappearance of the Tripilia or Tripilian culture, whatever you want, Ukraine sat very empty until the Greeks or Hellenes arrived. They built many seaports/seaside cities on the Crimean Peninsula, which I'll count as part of Ukraine for now, but depends later on. Around 2,700 years ago, in the 7th century BCE. The most notable of these Greek side ports and cities were Pantikapaeum. It was the capital of these areas. The Greeks' cities in the Crimean Peninsula, whether you count it as part of Ukraine or not, was, however, not to last. In 438 BCE, the Bosporan Kingdom, named after the Bosporan Strait in what's now Istanbul, not Constantinople, was founded in Crimea. I covered this in my history of Russia, but in case you didn't see it, which you can check out if you want after this. Long story short, the Greeks were hassled by the Romans in their empire. Eventually, they peacefully surrendered, which made Rome happy as they didn't have to invade. This made Rome go like, "Oh, Bosporan Kingdom and you Greeks and Scythians, thanks for not making me need to invade. In return, I'll give you heavy autonomy from our empire. But you're not too free. You're still a source of income from us. Deal?" To which the Bosporan Kingdom had no choice but to say yes, judging the reputation of the Romans around Europe. From 200 to 500, roughly. There's no exact dates for this. All of Europe was like, "Whoa, look at this place, which is now modern-day Ukraine. It has so much land and so many wild, untamed horses. I need those. How about I get there first to claim it for my civilization, aka empire or a kingdom?" Over the next 300 years, the Huns, Slavs, Magyars, or Hungarians, and the Avars basically said,
"It's free real estate."
By 650, almost all of modern-day Ukraine had been taken over by what's called the Khazar Khaganate or Khanate, aka the Khazar people from east or southeast of Ukraine. No one really knows where they came from. Ukraine stayed under these people until 909, when the Khazar Khaganate fell to the cultural ancestors of most Ukrainians and Russians, the Kievan Rus. In 988, King Volodymyr, or Vladimir the Great, of the Rus territory, whatever you want to call it, converted to Christianity and encouraged a lot of the other Kievan Rus to become Christian. Later, the Ukrainians and much of Eastern Europe would gravitate to Orthodox Christianity. In 1240, the Kievan Rus' empire, or whatever you want to call it, fell, and it had no ruler. Until around 1350, the Golden Horde Mongol Khanate, say that fast 3 times, took over Ukraine. This Mongol empire, the Golden Horde Empire specifically, was a successor to Genghis Khan's dead Mongol Empire. The Golden Horde Empire fell in around 1450, but there's no exact date. In 1449, the Crimean Khanate took Ukraine, at least the southern part. This lasted until 1783. The Crimean Khanate really didn't do much. I hate to make those Crimean Khanate fanatics mad. Sorry. Meanwhile, on the other side of Ukraine, western Ukraine, by 1500, this blob on the map, aka the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which was formed because some Polish guy had or at least his wife had a baby with a Lithuanian person. So why not form a Commonwealth? Anyways, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth had gained control over a lot of Ukraine. And this is odd because the Poles would have an interesting relationship with the Ukrainians for the next few centuries, as you'll see. In 1648, tensions between the Polish and Cossacks, essentially Russian or Ukrainian mercenaries who were hired to do whatever it took to get land, whether they had a death wish or not, resulted in the Khmelnytsky uprising or the Khmelnytsky insurrection if you're fancy. The Cossacks won, and as a result, the easternmost parts of Ukraine, or the easternmost quarter, or however much it was given to the Tsardom of Russia. I don't know why I said it like wheeze. Meanwhile, in basically the rest of Ukraine, chaos had arrived. Ukrainians call this era the Ruin. This was because there was a lot of chaos caused by the Polish and Cossacks, aka the Russians, who wanted more and more influence over the Ukrainians. This lasted until 1667, and nothing except death took place. No one won. From now until 1764, or 3, whatever you prefer, Ukraine was divided into 2 states, the Cossack Hetmanate, or the rich people, or the Slobodan Ukrainians. This later formed because of the Hetmanate, or the nobility, hating the Ottomans and refusing to join them, and the Slobodan Ukrainians loving the Ottomans, so they formed another state. Yeah. It was determined on whether you liked or hated the Ottomans, and the Ukrainians were bitterly divided, which resulted in these 2 countries, which would not last. By 1783, the Crimean Khanate was annexed by the Russian Empire, and just like that, every acre of Ukrainian land today was now under Imperial Russian rule in the Russian Empire. Ukraine would remain in the Russian Empire until 1917. But, rewinding a bit, in 1848, the Revolution of 1848, original name, swept Ukraine and Europe as a whole, basically. It caused Ukraine to remember its unique Ukrainian identity, not Russian identity. They tried to overthrow the Tsardom and the monarchy, but this didn't work so well. In 1919, Ukraine became the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic after being annexed by the Soviet Union. It remained like this until 1991. Yeah, you probably want a Soviet meme. Here we go. On August 24th, 1991, Ukraine declared independence from the USSR with no resistance from the USSR president. Wait, did I hear birthmark? Mikhail Gorbachev, the president of the USSR, was like, "Fine, Ukraine, have your independence. The USSR was already on its deathbed. Do whatever you want. I don't care." And we reached it. If you are Ukrainian or Russian, you're going to want to throw a chair out the window or murder someone. But it has to be addressed, and I'm sorry, Ukrainians and Russians, but it has to be said. Crimea. In 2014, the Crimean Peninsula's majority Russian population wanted to be part of Russia, so they held an illegal referendum. If you are Ukrainian or basically from anywhere but Russia, you call it illegal. So Russia invaded and then annexed Crimea. At least they say they did. I won't choose a side. I won't choose a person to say owns Crimea. But the majority of people, except for Russians, say that it is still in Ukraine. But I don't want to offend anyone. I want to cause more hated Ukrainians and Russians fighting in the comments. So I'm just going to let you choose your side. I have to move on. And with that, that is my history of Ukraine or Ukraine. Thank you all so much for watching. We are not quite done yet, as I still have to do the Ukrainian national anthem. Shiche ne umerta Ukrainia, or Ukraine has not died yet. Enjoy the Ukrainian national anthem. And you'll get to hear what video is coming next after it. Thank you, and enjoy. And with that, that was my history and the national anthem of Ukraine. The national anthem was Shichi ne verma Ukraine, or Ukraine has not died yet, or Ukraine has not perished yet. Whatever you call it, that was the Ukrainian national anthem, and I hope you enjoyed that and the history. Now that we've done Ukraine as per a request, what is coming up next? Is it another request? Is it another history video? Is it a song video? The answer is the latter. Coming up next is my video where I will be detailing the life and the two greatest songs ever written by the man himself, Ludwig van Beethoven, in time for his 250th birthday. He'd be 250 if he was born on the day that this video will be released, December 16th. Stay tuned until then, and thank you for watching.